we're live. I apologize for the mistake and it not being live at the time. We are now officially live. I am showing off MarPinGo here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reset this. I'm going to go back to the main menu as I talk to you guys. So, give me a moment here. I need to fix chat. Let's try this again. Go, okay. So, we got everything set up here. And I want to double check my stream though. Okay, there we go. Everything's working good. So, as I was saying, I'm showing off MarPinGo. Was going to show Space Marines 2, but then I found this old prototype close to pre-alpha build of MarPinGo video game I'm making. And I'm going to go ahead and hit single player. It's a mix between pinball and miniature golf. I'm going to do my aim. I'm going to give it that much power. And this front part of the course, it doesn't have anything for the pure simple fact that we wanted to test the power of the ball. Find the right power for the shooter from full to non. And go from there. I'm going to show over here. Now, this is where you start seeing things in the course. And these are the bumpers. And as you can see here, it just sort of bumps around. You'll notice that there's missing corner pieces. We hadn't made corner pieces yet. And stuff like that. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to show you guys the flippers. So as you can see, where I'm hitting the left and right mouse buttons, flippers actually go off. And that's really sort of important because, you know, we want that to be a part of what MarPinGo is. So as you can see, I have 500 points there. Just pull a little bit to there. Probably not enough to get on there. It's been a long time since I played this build, so I don't know what the power settings are. I want to do a little bit more. Maybe we can get in close. Nope, we're going to get to 200 points. Oh, no. Yeah, so as you can see here, here's a breakdown. So every time you hit a bumper or some kind of obstacle in the game, you're going to get points. And so I hit enough bumpers to get 1,000 points. It took me 5 strokes, which is 1 over par, so it took away 100 points. Give me a score of a target score of 500. Because I lost 100 points, I'm at 900. So I could do the next level if I wanted to. But let's go ahead and retry this. I want to show you guys more of the flipper stuff. So let's go ahead and pull tape out here. That should be enough. Hopefully not too much. It was too much. And this is, like I said, where we were playing with the power on there. Now, this part later on we did fill with bumpers, but this is also just a test course because you notice we're floating in air. And the design, the original or the full design, once done, you'll actually have an environment that you'll be put in. Environments will be different based on the theme of the course. I'm just going to do a shot to here. Fly up to there. It's going to hit that one. And of course, because it bounced into that. Okay, so that's going to be a right trigger one. Do this one over here. I'm going to aim at this one. Fire. Hit that. And we were also working on how quickly the flippers worked. So these flippers are not working exactly as they're supposed to. They need to have more force behind them. We need them to react quicker and have a quicker animation. So we are also playing at this time, playing with the animation times of them. As you can see here, we got the bumpers working really well and stuff like that. And that's what I really liked, is we had the bumpers fully done, and we need to, there was also some issues with the physics. We had to work some of the collision issues out. But as you can see, I'm at par 8, and if I sit there and I just tap in a little bit, and we get a score here. because each section is a score. We actually passed because I got the 750 there, but as you notice, I got a bunch of points there, but because I went over par, I lost 500. Now you can get under par and get a lot of points. We have had it done, and the whole entire concept of the game is no matter how many, no matter what par is, there's going to be a way to get hole in one. And that's very important. So I'll go ahead and do the next level. We were just at this point also playing around with level ideas and stuff like that. So as you see here, once again, graphics issue. We had to figure out what was causing the ball to ignore collision when going too fast. So that was an important thing, and we were also testing out the different bumpers and stuff like that in this one. So let's do like this, and just playing around with different interesting gameplay mechanics was the main thing. So I think what we'll do, hit here. I want more points. Ooh. And as you can see here, it got caught in the wall. But the great thing is we made it so that even if you get caught in the wall, it will still let you shoot. We wanted to make sure of that. And the physics for the corner bumpers weren't working too well at this time. See, as you can see there. And we just shoot here and get some things going. And you'll notice that the graphics are a bit off on this. We've done some adjustments to this texture for the target area. We wanted to make it feel more like the grass that you're on, the green grass. And go from there. Hey, Mama T, thank you for the raid. I got some cool stuff. So, as I was telling you guys when we were playing Friends with Golf about MarPinGo, I mentioned MarPinGo. And this is MarPinGo. It's a mix between miniature golf and pinball. So you'll notice as I goes on the floor, and then if I shoot, it bounces around and goes like that. So we get that. And then the other change that I made is I didn't want to have the game have a hole at the end. I wanted a little mini game that was inside the game itself. So the first one we did, and the only one that's in right now, is a target zone. So you get this big area at the end that has this target zone, and where you hit is determines on where you go. Some assets are placeholder assets, such as these bumpers right here are placeholder assets. The scoreboard in the upper left-hand corner is a placeholder, except for the text. And, the positioning's all where we want it. And then also the slider on the left is a placeholder. So what I'm going to do, this. And, we got physics working for the most part. And that's really nice that we have the physics going. And then let's see. Let's get, what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart from the beginning. I'm going to go main menu. So as you can see, main menu, very blank, very basic. The buttons are the finished product of the buttons that we want to go with. Yeah, you made it, Dread. So, Dread, this is the game. And let's do a new game. I want to get to the section. Physics issue. Yeah, we have a bit of issues because the level is made up of several different pieces. So you see this part up here where that creates the ramp, and that top part is the length of one piece. And so we sometimes didn't get things lined up correctly. And so it would cause a bit of an issue, and go from there. And so, we've been working on that. The new version I'm working on is, very, how can I say, gonna have a lot more easier of a time because I'm actually able to use a spline and create the course off of that and go from there. So let me do a full shot here. I'm gonna overshoot this, aren't I? Yep. I'm gonna overshoot that. So let's aim this way. Let's hopefully hit some bumpers. Hit bumper, hit bumper, hit bumper. No, not gonna hit a bumper. So I'm gonna shoot all the way back. I want to hit bumpers because I really want you guys to see this whole entire bumper thing and get the pinball feel. So I'm gonna shoot to here. There we go. Oh, it didn't get. But as you can see, I'm hitting the left and right mouse buttons, and I'm getting the flippers to go off. So right now, no, we do not have different materials for balls. All balls are going to have the same material because we want it to be even across the board. So all balls will have the same material and stuff like that, but there will be things in the game that you can do in what we're calling a battle mode. So take sort of like that Mario Kart. How when you're racing, you run over one of those cubes with the question mark, you get a power like shooting a shell, dropping a banana, things like that. We're gonna put that in there, and those are gonna be on rollovers that you normally have in pinball, are going to be in there, and going to look really, really nice. There we go. And so that's what we're aiming for there, but you will be able to change the materials on the ball so you can have your ball look different from others, but the material you choose will not affect the physics of the ball. So it won't make your ball roll better or less, but there are going to be different ones in there. We don't have that put in right now. In the game right now, what we're in the process of doing is this is originally built in Unity, and because of Unity's, which they've actually backtracked, they originally wanted to have the developer pay 20 cents per install, even if the person uninstalled and reinstalled the game, and that I did not like, so I backed away from Unity and didn't want to build in Unity anymore, and I'm rebuilding the code in Unreal. Because in Unreal, it's once you've made so much money, then you pay for the number of seats or the number of copies of Unreal you needed to make the game. So if you had 5 developers using Unreal, you had to pay for 5 copies of Unreal. And that's fine. And it was something like, you had to make $500,000 or $250,000, somewhere around in that range of a good amount of money, where you're paying, I think it's something like $10,000 per seat of Unreal. So if we were to have 5 developers and it's $10,000 per developer, that's $50,000, but you made, $250,000 or $500,000, you've still made $250,000, and they're talking in profits. So the process right now is we're taking all of the art sets that we have, which is we actually have finished art assets for the scoreboard. We have finished art assets for the slider and stuff like that. Let me go ahead, make this shot, see how close I can get. I'm only gonna get, we did make that the physics and the collision were a bit different, but as you can see here, I didn't make the score, so we made this show as red. We do have a different font that we're going to be using in here. This was all placeholder and testing for this scoreboard. There's a nice paper texture that we have in the background. And then the font is going to be sort of look like a handwritten font that we have. So it's going to look like you actually scribbled the scores down. And then instead of it saying player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, so on and so forth, it's actually going to have the player's name up here. And up here we'll actually say name. And then we'll have that, and then each person will have their score. We're going to, of course, be doing a Steam, type launch. So, with being connected to Steam, we can take the Steam username and put that into there. Numbers are flipped. Where are the numbers flipped? Oh, on the target? Yeah, that's because it's meant to show the number based off of the direction you're coming. So if you were coming from this direction here, you'd see this as 250. Whereas if you were come from here, it would say 250. If you were come from this direction, this one would say 250. That's the reason we did that. So for the target, that was on purpose, so that the direction you're coming from, you'll be able to read what the score is. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here. You do power like that, and of course that little bug hits. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me get to the area. We're gonna hit that bumper there. Yep. There we go. Got that. Aim like that. So you see, as each direction you go. Ooh. I see what you're saying. That I can change. That's an easy change and fix, and good catch, Mama T. So all I need to do is just rotate that number, flip that number on the other end. Because I see what you're saying. Because if I go from there, it will show 250. Let's go over here. Yeah, that one right over here would need to be flipped. You are right. Good catch, Mama T. I like that. I greatly appreciate that. Can I get the 1,000? Can I get the 1,000? Can I get the 1,000? No! So close. But hey, 750. So basically it's taking every bumper and thing that could give you a score in pinball, it's giving you score points, which is what these points are over here. And then it's taking your strokes and either adding points or taking points away. Because I'm 2 over par, it's taking away 200 points. And then the target score is 500. But if we take 200 from 950, we end up with 750. I'm over that 500, which allows me to move on to that. Double check the colors for what? This target area is just placeholder. This has changed. This target area, it was for testing purposes. Because each of these are actually their own model. This red area is a model. This orange area is a model. This yellow area is a model, and then this green area is a model. And the reason we did that is for collision. So this red one has its own collision area. Same with this orange one and stuff like that. And that's how we're able to have it detect what the points are. Because once you've stopped, the game does a check and checks what target area you're on and then applies those points to your score. So like I said, this is early pre-alpha. So let me go to this level. And you'll see it later on that we'll have actual placeholders. I missed that one. Darn. We also have different bumpers that have different colors and different scores to them, along with the rollovers and things like that. So, see, there's part of the issue that we were running into is the collision and trying to get that all figured out. And then also that camera, we didn't want the camera moving so quick. But as you can see, the bumpers work really well. That's one shot. So I like how the bumpers work. And you notice I made 2 shots and I'm at a score of 925. So that's really good. Let's see if I can hit. Let's do this shot. Nope, not what I wanted to do. So, I mean, later on as we progress, I want to add in a bowling. Collision error there. I want to add in a little bowling game. And then also a skee ball game at the end instead of just having an aim for the targets. And the camera has been fixed so it doesn't swipe around as quickly. Because, people can get nauseous with how quickly that bounces around and rotates. We have a slower check on the movement of the cameras, a lot smoother in older builds. But I don't have any of the older builds. They got lost when our SVN went down, where we were hosting the what was it, the project, because we had at one point in time we had about 3 or 4 people working on the project. Yeah, it can be a little bit dizzying, and that's where we noticed that. And in later versions, we perfected the camera, because we don't want that dizzying effect. And so we focused on that also, but we wanted to get a lot of the gameplay properties of this working really well. Because like distances, that's, even that distance was a little too much and just swiped too quick. So what we did in the code is we told the camera to slow down on its rotation. I have to talk to the programmer and see what they actually did for that. I know in Unreal we're going to have to redo that kind of stuff. But, you got to do what you got to do. And it just takes some time. Over here, I got a bunch of points. Because, when you're making a game and you have an idea, you're always prototyping out. So when we first prototyped, It was like, let's just throw some blocks in there, a sphere in there, a cylinder in there for the shooter. So the blocks were basically made up the play floor, and then the sphere made up the ball, and the cylinder made the shooter. And from there we tested, and then slowly started adding in some artwork once we found out that the gameplay was really fun. And I'll show you actually in this next level what I'm talking about. You'll notice in the upper right over here, you see all those white rectangles. That's all placeholders. That's just a 3D modeled out sphere or cube stretched out. And that was to literally test out rectangular bumpers. So we put the bumper code on those. And then you're also going to see what look like little short cylinders that feel like a cone. And then that white spot there is basically just a rectangle stretched out that's actually a speed boost. So like if I hit this, you'll notice it boosts up in speed and gets you up and over the ramp. And then all these are basically bumpers that we want to put in. We actually have now the models for the bumpers. And just to show you the bumper code works, there you go. And then over here, I'll shoot over here and show you guys, we had some coins put down, but we decided to go away from the idea of the coins for our first main level and go with rollover. See, as you go here, we have it collecting those. And those add to your points. We also made it so that the score part of thing doesn't disappear once you've made the shot. It always stays up there along with player name. And this was, we were also just playing with curved levels and ramps and things like that, because you'll notice that those are sharp angles there. We actually have curved parts just like that are in Golf with Friends, so it's not a harsh angle. So any other questions you guys have about the game? Like anything about, you guys wanting to know about future plans for the game, things like that. We also have curved corners. So we don't have just sharp angle corners that are going to be in the game and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's going to be enough points. We did a bunch. Nope. We're shy. That works. Okay, well, Mama T, you have yourself a great day. Thanks for stopping by and checking out the game. I'm sure by a lot. Whoa. Yeah, I'm glad that we were able to fix these physics problems. the same score again. So would you guys like to see some of the actual art assets that we have in made for the game? No, multiplayer is not in the game yet. Right now, we are in the process of recoding the whole entire game because we switched to Unreal. So once we get that all done, the plan is to literally get multiplayer put in. That is something that we definitely want to do. Now, as you can see, I was just short by 200. If I would have gotten into the yellow, it would have gotten me. I can actually get this. The plan is to have several multiplayer phases. Go. A little bit more. Oh. But yeah, at this phase, we were just sort of playing around with ideas for different courses or different levels and stuff like that, and themes for the game. There we go. There's a perfect shot. And this is what I'm talking about. Being able to do a hole-in-one on par 4. I just pulled it off. So we got 1,000 points just for doing it. We got a hole-in-one. And so that gave us another 300 points because, well, we were under by a lot. And we're thinking, one of the things I'm thinking of doing is doubling the stroke penalty if you get a hole-in-one. So instead of this being 300 points, it would give you 600 points, or just doubling the overall score. I think would be interesting. And then, because we haven't created any more levels, this is what we have. But if I go ahead and bring up this, let me go into here to game design. And at the time we were naming it Marble Golf. But yeah, we have a bunch of different textured assets. Here's all of the buttons for everything. We already planned for multiplayer, so this was all to accept multiplayer. And we have the basic, this is the regular button. This is when you hover over it, and then this is when you click it. So we have the different stages for the buttons. Stuff that you're seeing here is all for the shooter right there. This is some other button stuff that we were working on. This is what we're doing for the different models and courses in that. Some other interface that we were looking at, doing sort of like an inventory thing so you can change out with the way your ball looks, stuff like that. Different grass textures that we have. We did our own leaf textures. and stuff like that. And this is that corner button bumper I was telling you guys about. And then this is the texture that I was telling you guys about for the scoreboard. So let me open this up. I'm going to open this up with. Let me open this up with photos. So this is what we did to give it a texture feel to it. And we want this to look printed out because it's as if you got a printed scorecard is the feel that we want for this. So we wanted to go with a regular print, and then we chose for the rest of the parts to have a texture. And then for the rollovers, this is the texture for the rollovers. And we did a lot of work on those because, like, for instance, if I back out of this, I go into this, you'll see over here, there's a bunch of different layers. So if I take this off, that takes off that center glow. This takes away a highlight. This takes away a shadows. This takes away the center area and things like that. Night Dread. And so, you know, we just have different parts that we've done to create this. You know, this is the highlights for the metal that is done here and stuff like that. And this metal texture that's here, this one right here, was a texture that we've just done for metal itself and then threw it on to use in this asset. And then the reason it's layered like this with all the highlights is because then above this layer, so like right here above this layer, I could go and I could add a new layer here. And let's say we do some text. I put right here, and I could do something like 70. And let's say we change the color of this to be green. Or maybe something else, maybe red. And do like that, like a darker red. And what we can do is we can also increase that. Let's go edit, retransform. Go like that. Put that there. And so that way you still get that glow effect out of there, because we can even make this bigger and go like that. And you still get a bit of the shine. This we probably want to make a white instead. So that way if it's white, it would actually make this red not have the yellow on there, but it would actually take from the red. Because all of this is in yellow, for instance, if I go ahead and click here, click apply, and then take this off, you'll see you got that dark red. But because there's that yellow in there, it affects it. But you notice that the yellow, it changes. You know, other ones I can show off are, let me close this one out. I'm not going to save this because I don't want that 70 in there. Go ahead and let's do file. We'll do an open. All of my thumbnail stuff. Let's back out to here. Go game design, marble golf, art, textures. And so we'll see all of our textures here. And so these are the textures for the different, like I said, the different bumpers that we have. And then our dirt texture. I could like open up this dirt texture, or we could actually do. So that's a grass texture. So let's open this one. And so we created a dirt texture here. That's all created by us. And then there's also, if I do an open, show you the let's open this one. This is the grass that we created. So we create our own grass and then add it onto that. But like if I take that away, we have a light grass area with some dirt underneath it. Take this away. This is dirt with some rocks on there. And we can take the rocks away. Take away the bumpiness of the dirt. We can just take away the dirt itself and things like that. So, and then even taking away that light grass changes the grass just a bit. So we've done that. And let's open another one here. See what else we have. That's a worthwhile one. So yeah, there's the light grass one. Find one. Not button related. Like a rock texture here. Open this up. This is our rock texture. As you can see, there's a lot of layers to the rock texture. So there is a lot of work that goes into this. Because like I'm taking off some of the highlights. I'm taking off some of the shadows. And things like that. So we literally went through and hand painted all of this stuff that you see here. And that's the textures that we use. And so what I could do, no, don't want to say it. I could go back. Let me go into models. And so let me open this one up. I'm going to open this up in Blender. Oh yeah, it can be very, very complex. So this is where I was working on the miniature golf part for the whole entire thing. And so I was working on, let's see, there we go. So this is the bowling alley part. So basically the way it's designed is you roll the ball, it go into here, and then there would be bowling pins up here, and based on the bowling pins you'd knock over would determine. We put in the gutters. You notice the gutters are modeled in. And so that's all modeled in, and then if I go tab, okay, why is it not animation? Not composite. So yeah, for some reason it's not letting me go into edit mode. But yeah, this is one of the end course pieces that we have. Yeah, complexity is sort of it, but you take it step by step. So when I was showing off those textures, let's go back to those textures real quick. When I was showing the textures of, let's say, for instance, the bark. We'll open up the bark texture. New texture to show you. So this is the bark texture we created. And there's a lot to the bark texture that we've done. There's several layers. And we can even enable this. Doesn't do much, but like disable that. That's the background color that we created for it. And if we disable this, it just sort of takes away some of the highlights. Disable that, it makes it a little bit But like if I disable all of this. So this is basically what we started with, is we just brushed in a few colors. And this is done by 500 pixels by 500 pixels. And then we just basically threw in a layer there, and then another cloud layer on there to add more effects. And then we started adding a color gradient. Then we did our shadows, and then we did our highlights, and then we did our shadows. And that's how we came up with this bark texture. You know, some of those other textures that you were seeing that are more complex, like, let's see. No, that's floor. That's the hands I was working on. Leaves. So like this leaf one. Let me open this leaf one. We had a color palette here that we went off of. As you can see, there's a lot of layers into this too. Because I can also pop this up. And we have a bunch of different leaves that we did. And so in one file, we'll have a bunch of different leaves that we're showing off. And I can turn that off. And so we've done this all on its own. And so we basically just put a color palette up here on what colors to sort of play around with and utilize. And then just went through and had pictures. We actually took pictures of real leaves and then put them into Photoshop and basically use those as our guides as we were painting this out, just using highlights and stuff like that. Well, thank you very much, Michael. You know, we took some time in wanting to do this, and that's where, like I said, we took real pictures of leaves to get these in there. Let's see if I have them still in here. So, like, if I minimize this, let's just go into this layer here. I take off each layer. So you notice the slight little changes there. And that's just because we want, you know, you'll mainly notice it up here. But if we de-highlight this one, you'll see some slight changes there too. And then here. And here's where you're really going to see it, because that's where some highlights were put in. And that's where the darkness was put in. And then for the veins, the highlights for the veins, the darkness for the veins, one of the main colors for the vein, for the leaves, and like take that away, boom. And so that's sort of what we did. And then each one of those is sort of done in the same way. So like if I hide this one, put this one there, and then the photos, there they are. So this, if I go to this and take this, okay, that's 100%. Let's go here. This leaf right here. Bring this up to 4. This is the real picture of the leaf that we had. And then we based our drawing off of that to create this. So we can actually hide this, and then that's what we came up with. But we wanted a bit of a feel of that texture, and that's the reason why we dropped this down to a 40 to give that slight little extra feel of the texture of the leaf without actually having the real leaf looking in there. and game artists that do hand painted textures do this all the time. They go out there and they'll take pictures of things. You may see someone sitting there taking a close-up picture of a leaf or a close-up picture of bark or metal or sand or things like that. They could be an artist using that for inspiration for part of their paint because they want to get a certain feel going. And then they use the tools that they have to create their artwork, especially when they're digital artists such as myself. But you got all that going on. And then let me go ahead and go back into Blender here. I'm going to close this out. No, I do not want to save. I want to go back over to some of the models. That's media. So I was talking about the bowling pins. I had 3D modeled out bowling pins. And so this is the 3D model of the bowling pin. If we go back to here, there you go. And then this just shows literally where all my verts are. And then how I cut it so that it can be textured. And then if you want to see the texture for the bowling pin, there's the texture for the bowling pin right there. So I could throw this up, open this with photos. So this is the texture that we made for the bowling pin. And we wanted scratches, we wanted scuffs and stuff like that. Exactly. It's like using sounds of nature or other sounds that they might hear that they want to add into their music. It's the exact same thing, Michael. Exactly. But then, you know, we did a test image here of the bowling pin. So this is the image that I used of a bowling pin to 3D model out my bowling pin. So I get a rough shape of this. And go that way. And then this is just the UV maps here and stuff like that. And then I had this so I could place it down in the game world to line up the bowling pins correctly and stuff like that. But then do not want to change anything on that. Let's show off another model here. See what we have here. That's interesting. Flippers. You've seen the flippers. Floors. Snap. Oh, the line bumper. So you remember the rectangle I was showing off before? Well, here's the actual model that we have that replaced those rectangles. This is the line bumper that I 3D modeled out. This is completely 3D modeled out by me. It's two separate parts. It's this part here and this part here. And the reason it's two separate parts is when the ball does end up flying and it hits this, I don't want the impulse which pushes the ball away due to hitting the side of the bumper to go off when it hits the top of the bumper or doesn't hit this band that's highlighted. I only want the impulse to go off when the band is highlighted. So by putting in this model, it's a static model. It will bounce off of that, but no impulse will be added to it. But when it hits this band here, it will add impulse and be pushed away from the bumper. And that's the reason this is in a two-part model. Just like the triangle button, just like the other round cylinder bumpers that are in the game. They have sort of the same effect. I need to go AFK for just a moment. I will be right back. Okay, I am back. So, as I was saying, there's a bunch of stuff that we've done, showing artwork and stuff like that, but let's go ahead. Now, we do have, actually, let's go main menu. We do have multiplayer hot seat enabled. So I can go multiplayer. I can choose 2 to 8 players, let's say 3. New game. You notice it says player 1. You shoot the ball. There we go. We have that put in. And now it says player 2. And let's shoot the ball at a different angle, different speed, so it'll have a different position. And so there's player 2. And player 3. Shoot the ball, get a different angle on it. There you go. So there's player 3. So it's going to go back to player 1. You noticed it kept with player 1's spot. So then we can shoot. That's player 1's shot. So player 1's shot is done. Player 2 shoots. Their shot's done. Now we're at player 3. And there's player 3 shot. Right here. That's probably not going to make it. That's going to roll up and then it's going to... Oh, yeah, we don't have the physics for it to roll back down in this version. What we could do is this. Yeah, it's still not recognizing it. Here. There, that's a little too much power. Might be enough power to... Nope. So, and then here you notice that it's floating, and watch what happens when they actually shoot. It doesn't actually utilize the ramp as expected. So we're still working on getting it to rotate to match the angle of the whole entire thing. And that's where the actual bumper works. So like I said, this is, pre-alpha, and this is a way earlier build than, on things. So, to like maybe, no, too much. But you also notice that we got the camera working really well for all of the angles, so it doesn't clip through models. And that's because what we did is on the camera, we actually put a collision sphere around the camera. So when the camera runs into something, it goes, oh, I'm playing with something. Okay, let's use the collision sphere and get it to, recognize that I need to either move forward, move in, and things like that. Okay, so now we had that player make a shot, so now it's player 1's turn. That was player 3 or 2, I think. Because this is player 1. And now we're on player 2. Okay, so it was player 2 that was having a bit of trouble. And so here's the scoreboard that you get with all the different players. And you notice all their scores are different because of what they'd hit. And then their strokes are somewhat different. And then their penalty cost is different. And then their score, they all barely passed. Some got more than others. Some got less, which is really, really good. and we can continue moving on to other, like the next level. And let's have this player hit here. This player hit here. Have this player hit like that. I'm just randomly aiming. I'm not trying to get any one thing done. But you'll notice that for the most part, the base idea is really nice. And I find it fun. It's really up to you guys on what you find fun. If you guys find this kind of gameplay enjoyable, yeah, there are some quirks to it. We are working out those bugs, but you know, it's all part of game development, such as the camera. You know, we realized at this point that we needed to work on the camera and make it rotate around a little bit smoother and nicer. So that it's not rotating so quickly. So we actually put a delay in the rotation and a feel for the rotation. Well, that was a really good shot. That one just flew off course. Because it was things like that were making people sick. Even in my eyes, I have trouble following it. And we don't want that. And see, 2 of them did not make score, but player 3 did really good by just being a par 3 and getting a bunch of points. Reason he didn't make it is, yeah, he made par 2, but you need to get 750 points, and he didn't get 750 in his final shot and things like that. He's just gonna fall off the edge. We just have fun little things like that, and I can't wait until I can get in and mess around with putting in terrain and stuff like that. We'll make it very, very interesting. Let's see where I can. Let's try this. Nope, but got points. That. Oh, need to be harder. Way harder. Make it? Nope. Hit that corner part. Nope. What happens here? Yeah, that's different angle. Oh, almost. This one just need to shoot down some. So, like I said, in future versions, that the ball will roll back down the hill. And it helps if I shoot the right way, doesn't it? I'm shooting backwards on that one. Things a little bit easier for it. Let's aim this way this time. Ooh, that was a good lucky shot. Could have ended so badly. Perfect positioning too, I think. Oh, that's bad positioning. This is really good positioning. Get all those coins. Nope. Maybe if we aimed, let's aim that. A little too much. That would do it. Yeah, I think you guys will really enjoy it once we get the camera locked in and stuff like that. There we go. Oh! Getting coins as we're going along is always good. And later on in other levels, we may end up putting in coins and different things. It all depends on the theme that we're going for. If we want to do more like a platformer type feel thing, we could do coins. But we switched out the coins because we wanted to have that pinball feel. We switched out the coins for rollovers because we want more pinball obstacles and things like bumpers, rollovers, flippers, and that kind of stuff is not going to go anywhere. Those parts are going to stay in the game. No, it's because it's what we've designed for the game. Okay, that was too much. Nope. This? Definitely not. This? Nope. This? Nope. Yeah, it's too. A little bit more over. There we go. How close are we going to get to 1,000? We're going to get 750. So there we go. You can see all of them went under score. You know, 1 did and 2, but only hit 250 there. So because of the score that they got, and then got 200 points there, giving them the 450. We got player 2 who got a bunch of points, the most points out of them all, but took 22 strokes, so he lost 18,000, put him in the negative. He's the only one in the negative too, which is funny. He got the most points, but he ended up in the negatives because of so many strokes to do it. And then player 1, got 1,100 points, 13 strokes, 900 minus, total score of 1,000, but only ended up with 200 because, well, they lost 900. And that's where the fun is in this whole entire thing. So, it adds to it. And, let me show off some more models here. Close this out. No, but let's go ahead. Open up this large down ramp. So when I was talking about the curved ramps, here's what we use to curve the ramps. This is when they're at the top of the ramp, and we have another one that goes for when it's down below. That was the down ramp. This is the up ramp. So we have an up ramp here. And we have a loop. This is the loop that we were working on, and want to make it a lot bigger, higher up. But this is one that we have done. And then, this was, like I said, early stages. And let's see. Oh, oak tree. This is a good one to show. This is the oak tree that we have in game. So what if we do... Oh, that's not going to do it. Go back to default. So we were working on the tree and texturing the tree. As you can see, we got texturing over here. This was all for the bushy parts of it. And then, we have several oak trees. Oh yeah, we did a wheel. This is like an old spoked wheel that modeled out that we're using for something. Don't know what yet. And we did a pendulum. This is a pendulum that will swing back and forth and knock the ball out of bounds or knock the ball around. And then we did some 3D modeling of rocks. The rock models are very, very basic. We just needed them to be basic. So, that's basically what we did here, is very basic rocks. You got all the rocks there. Straightaway. Different target parts that I talked to you about. Different floor parts. What's this one? Oh, windmill. We were working on a windmill model. So there's the windmill. And the entrance to the hole. So, this doesn't have a texture to it yet. But, just some things that we were playing around with for fun. Things like that. Like if I do this, you can see all of the work put into this, and it's already been UV mapped. Same with the house. I mean, could clean this up a lot more. I could literally just have this vertice, go to this vertice, go to this vertice, so that there's an edge there, and that'd be good and clean. And I could take and put this vertice to here, and that would get rid of some polys. So there is some cleanup that needs to be done with the roof of that. But we just started UV mapping that. It's not even fully UV mapped. As you can see, there's the bottom of the model. But here's this one. Oh, okay, it has been UV mapped. We just have it as two separate parts. Don't know why. We could easily have this as one part. I'll probably work on that. But then, excuse me. So we have all of that. You want to see the different floors that we have. So here's the straightaway floor that we have. It's literally just all one model. And there are the curved floors. Let me see if I can find the... Rock. Oak tree. Showed you the line bumper, floor test, floor end, floor cap. Check out floor turn. Here's one of the rounded turns. So this is one of the rounded turns that will actually be in the game. So it's two separate models because this part just has the wood and this part has the grass in it. And we want to have two not just textures but also friction. We want two different frictions for this. So when you're on the grass, you have one type of friction reacting to the ball, and then when you're on going against the wood or on the wood would have another different friction, which is why these are two separate pieces, because then we can have two collisions. We can have one just for this piece here for the grass, and then have a different friction for this piece here that would be the wood walls and things like that. And so by having it as two separate pieces allows us to have those two separate friction points. It allows the game to recognize, oh, okay, you're just on the grass, so we're going to apply this friction mathematics to that. Oh, okay, you've landed on the top of this beam and are running along it. Okay, let's add a different friction. Or oh, you're on the grass and running along, rolling along the beam. Let's add these frictions together, type of thing. And that really sort of adds some interest into it and makes you think more about how you're shooting. But if people don't like that, we can easily get rid of that. Let's see what else we have. Here's floor 2. What's the difference? Oh, this is the new floor that we put in. And the reason this has more lines in it, excuse me, is this one follows a spline. So it's an invisible line in the game that this will follow and stretch out to. So we can literally make our course piece one long course piece that way, and then we'll tile the textures. And so by doing this makes it a lot easier and a lot better. But there's some things that the spline can't do. You can't do harsh 90-degree turns. It doesn't like it. And so, this is good for slight bends and curves, doing things like, causing it to curve up a bit, curve down, creating a half pipe type situation we could do, and things like that, putting slight twists into it and all of that kind of stuff is what this one's good for. But doing those like that 90-degree turns, whether it's a harsh corner or a rounded corner, the splines don't like that when using models, because it has to go off the distance between these. So if you try to do that hard right turn here, what it's going to do is it's going to make some of these go inside of each other, and it just looks really terrible. And of course there's this other floor here, and this is the first floor that we tested with, but I wanted to add in more edges so that when using the splines we could do a little bit more with messing around with it. And of course there is the flipper, and this is the big entrance target floor area. This is for like if we do a T section. You know, we made a bunch of different floor pieces. You know, like here's a corner floor piece once it loads. So we got this in here. And, you know, we could literally just take all of these and, you know, there's some cleanup that still needs to be done. This is sort of a test piece. What else do we have? Yeah, here's our corner piece there to do an angled shot. This is our actual corner floor piece. We're doing a harsh, sharp corner. This is our bumper that actually bounces off things, just a simple cylinder. And we wanted that to be a separate piece from the bumper cap. So this is what goes on top of that. As you can see, there is a texture on here. So, you know, there is going to be a difference there with each one. And that's sort of really nice. So, you know, we are working on that because as you saw in the prototype, it was just red with saying 100. This one, and it had a circle. This has more designs on the side and something on the top, stuff like that, which is nice. And then there's the bullseye, which once again, you know, just the one piece that's very central or center of it. And then, oh, the boost piece that we did. This is what another piece that I was working on. I don't know if it's actually going to make it in the game, but what we're planning on having is a railing system that you can go through. So you know how in pinball games they have sort of like that area where it takes you on these rails that lifts you up and puts you into a different spot on the pinball field. These are sort of the boost wheels that would spin to push you in and pull you onto those rails, is what we were thinking of. Basic shooter, angled ramp. This is the angled ramp that you actually saw in the whole entire thing. And we could actually take these and pull these and clean this up more. And there's the alley I showed you for the bowling alley. But yeah, there's a bunch of different models and stuff like that. And I did all of the modeling work. So we have all of that. And then like I was showing the textures. And if you want to see, I think in media. Yep, there is. So in media, we were working on terrain and stuff like that. I can close this one. That one open. I'm going to close this one. Minimize this. Let's open this with photos. And so, you can see that we were working on actual terrain. So, we have a water texture, we have the grass texture, it can blend in with the dirt and things like that. And this is literally how the game looks at the stage that we were at for a while. And you can see, like here, you have the different colored bumpers. You have 3 different colored bumpers. We have the rollovers here. We have rollovers here. We have spinners here. We have a couple of drop downs here. Let's see. There's the end target zone, which is still a placeholder. But yeah, that's just different images that we have for media, when we were taking things. This is our font folder. And then we have our audio folder here. So, different pinball sounds and stuff like that for audio when we put the audio in is all in there. Actually in the models. ED corner. Will this actually open up? Okay, so it's trying to open up in that. We don't want that. Let's open it with... Change that. We want... It's an FBX file. We want Blender to open that up. I think I put Blender. It's not recognizing it. Darn. You have it done for the spinners. Target zone, target zone. But it's just not opening them. Okay. Let's see. Did I actually have the textures for the drop down done? Should have the textures for the drop down in here. Okay, ramp. Dirt texture, dirt texture. So I had the drop down texture done. Yeah, like here's the actual finished version of the scoreboard. Here's a finished version of the slider, or one part of it. We broke it into several pieces because we needed to, so that it would have the right feel. Same with the scoreboard, so it can be adjusted. Here's the finished texture for the rollover. What else? Okay, there's slider. Roller. Forward. One. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so apparently some textures are missing. I'll have to redo those textures, but that's okay. I can redo those textures. It's not a problem. But there are a lot of textures in here that we have. And yeah, that's pretty much everything for it that we have. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, I know where that's going. Going on to my third monitor. That down. There we go. So other than that, that's pretty much everything we have. There's more that to be done, and it's going to be very interesting. I want to thank you guys all for watching this show off of the pre-alpha of MarPinGo, and you guys all have a good night. Okay, let's